Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new
Welcome, Goat Walker race fans, to the final race of round 2 of the Veterans for Life Racing Truck Series playoffs. It's race 14 of the season, but most importantly, it's the cutoff race and the penultimate race of the season. Tonight, we are on the heart of the Commonwealth State at the Richmond Raceway. Strap in tight and let's get ready to see who the championship for will be next week at Darlington. Tonight, right here, live on V-Speed. And it's great to be back with you. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. It's good to be back. I'm Malik Martinez along with Logan Thurkel. Logan, it's great to be back. The penultimate race of the season and probably the most important race to see who these championship for will be next week at Darlington.
Yeah, absolutely, Alec. This is, next to the biggest race of the season. We've got one driver locked in right now. That's Jeremy Gardner. 2nd through 6th in the points are in a dead heat, separated by 6. We've got 2 drivers in the top 8 that need to win tonight. So it's going to be an action-packed night all night long. We've already seen it in practice. This track is slippery, so it's going to be hectic out there.
It is one of the more worn-out tracks that we've seen most of this season, and we'll pull up the schedule of what has been an incredible season with all these drivers having 11 different winners in the first 11 races, and then having some repeat winners there. But of all the tracks, Richmond, probably the most worn-out track we'll go to this season. And other than maybe the championship race at Darlington and what has been a stellar stellar season, and last week Jeremy Gardner punched his ticket into the championship race at Darlington next week, and we'll take a look at our track map here for tonight, here right outside of Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, right here, Richmond, Virginia, 14 degrees of banking in the corners. It's only 0.75 miles around this track here, and like I just mentioned, slippery as all can be.
Sure is, and one of these drivers is going to try to get to that place right there in victory lane here at the Richmond Raceway as qualifying continues to go on. This is our playoff graphic. As you can see, Jeremy Gardner's name highlighted in yellow in the championship 4. 3 more drivers will join him in that championship race next week at the Darlington Raceway. And oh boy, can we not wait to see who that will find out. And we'll have live points to cover it all through tonight's race. But before we get to that, qualifying continues to go on. We'll send it over to Navy vet Jared Ashley here for tonight's national anthem. And we'll be right back for qualifying results.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And a beautiful performance, and thank you to Jared who performs that national anthem, and a beautiful thing, as well as qualifying has just concluded here tonight, and the Jam Printing and Promotions pole sitter is none other than last week's winner, Jeremy Gardner. Will start on pole with a 21.647, and the creamsicle machine, the Jam Printing and Promotions Chevy Silverado, is outside. Patrick Drabick rolls off in second. Row number 2, Jacob Ellingson will roll off in third, with Levi McCarty rolling off in fourth. Row number 3 is going to have in the 5th place position Chance Taylor in the 14, with Jake Ham in the 87 rolling off in 6th. Row number 4, starting 7th, Craig Bontrader in the 49, with Jamie Mullins rolling off in 8th to his outside. And row number 5 will have Jamie Barkis in the 15 to see him back, with Brandon Wallace in the 99 rolling off in 10th.
Right behind our top 10, we've got Tyler Justice in the 33, one of our drivers in the must-win situation next to the 55 of Howie DiSavino. Charles Feltz, Pegleg, 75. He'll start out here in 13th next to Mike Browning in the 4. George Jewell in that 36 will start out in 15th position next to the 85 of James Goshen in 16th. Tyler Merritt will start out here in 17th next to Logan Sturgeon in 18th. And last but not least, Matt Knights in the 64 will round out our 19-car field.
And like you said, 19 trucks will compete in this race. 130 laps and 97.5 miles here. 130 laps at a track that's worn out. Tires will, of course, be in the conversation as our rank link pit road speed of 40 miles an hour. 3 sets will be available in the pits. 2 green light checkers, 50% fuel load. We're estimating about 50, maybe a little bit more than 50 laps on fuel. So no matter what, they will have to pit in this race, Logan. And the big story here, the penultimate race of the season, these 8 that we've been talking about here the last 2 weeks, 4 of them are going to be racing for a championship next week. We know pole sitter Jeremy Gardner, he's already locked in. He doesn't have to worry about it after winning last week at Michigan. I'll tell you what, Logan, we are in for a show, and we're going to be monitoring these points all night.
Absolutely. And just a quick rundown for all the viewers. Like you mentioned, Jeremy Gardner locked in. Our next driver, Patrick Drabick, he's looking for a spot. He's sitting in that second spot in the points. Levi McCarty behind him. Those two separated by 1 point. Jake Ham, Michael Kostick, who's not in the race. Unfortunate for him, he will not make it to that championship 4. But Jake Ham, Craig Bontrager are both tied for 4th. And then our 2 drivers in the must-win situation, Tyler Justice and Howie DiSavino.
Sir, and Jake Ham and Craig Bontrager will start 1 position away from each other. So that'll be something to monitor here, and we appreciate what Eddie does in the background, and a shout out to him as well as we continue to pace. And we'll see the green flag in this field will be led by Jeremy Gardner and Patrick Drabick. We'll see the marbles as well, a new addition in the iRacing update that could play a factor in tonight's race. And there is our in-car cameras with George Jewell, Chuck Feltz, Jake Ellingson, and Patrick Drabick will go to some of their cameras while they fight these tough conditions. It's been a long season. It's around the round of 8. Like we said, it's been a long season with many, many different winners. But tonight, 4 drivers will etch their name in stone at a chance for a championship next week at Darlington. Into the NVETS restart zone. Green flag is out. The penultimate race of the season is underway at Richmond. Off of turn 4 they'll come. Jeremy Gardner, the pole sitter, will lead lap 1, followed by Drabick, and then a side-by-side battle behind them between Ellingson and the 24 of McCarty, and then Taylor and Ham duking it out behind them in 5th. As they'll get it sorted out, and still staying side-by-side is the 24 and 27, Ellingson, an on-playoff driver who's been one of the drivers that has kind of been the spoiler for a lot of the playoff guys, but just hasn't had the results to show for it. As lap 2 goes on the board, McCarty pulling a little bit higher on the outside here of Jake Ellingson, and on board with the NVETS onboard cam, and in-car camera, and that is on board with Jake Ham, who's on the cutoff line here tonight in that 87 truck, as it looks like a caution is out, and I'm not sure who it is. It might have been the 4 of Mike Browning, who had a little bit of an issue, and it looks like it is the 4, and maybe his teammate James Goshen as well with some front-end damage.
Yeah, the 4 just got loose coming through the corner there, and unfortunately in front of a couple drivers. No real major contact, so we shouldn't see anybody out of the race after this, but big contact from the back end. I believe that was maybe the 15? I couldn't quite catch that number. Was it the 85?
I think so, of Goshen, yeah, and he has heavy front-end damage to that 85 truck. And we'll go on board here with Mike Browning and take a look here as he was behind Brandon Wallace in the 99, that pink truck. Howie DiSavino, one of those drivers in the playoffs, was able to get ahead of that incident before it happened. It just seemed like a little bit of bumper trucks going into turn 1 between just a stack up into 1, and not a lot of damage, a little bit of damage to the right side there for the number 4, but nothing too bad that he can get fixed. And remember, a short track won't really affect the aerodynamics too much with these trucks.
Yeah, not at all. It has a little bit of an effect, but not enough to really be concerned of it all that much. But we are going to see Mike Browning come down, get what he needs to get repaired, and then he'll be back out on the racetrack shortly, turning laps all over again.
Yes, sir. And like we said, 5 laps with our first caution here out tonight. And like I said, great save there out of Mike Browning in the 4. That could have been a lot worse than what it was. But how about we let you all know about our sponsors here for tonight, and let's start off with the Veterans for Life Racing, as they are a race team with the goal of fielding a truck next season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Veteran-based and focused on helping veterans all across the racing world. They are heavily involved with many veteran nonprofits to raise awareness and funds. Goat Locker Racing is now partnered with them, and they are the title sponsor of the Friday Night Truck Series, which is the series you're watching here live on V-Speed. And we appreciate all those tuning in here for tonight. And man, what an interesting way to start this night off with already some chaos to begin.
Yeah, we could go back to one of my favorite quotes, and that's just short track racing.
It is.
We're going to have incidents throughout this race, but no harm, no foul. We're still going to be able to get through 130 laps here tonight, and that's what matters. We've got a championship 4 to decide.
We sure do, as the pace truck lights will go off here, so we'll have one more lap before we turn them loose once again. And, how about we do one more sponsor shout out, and that is InVets as well, and for what they do, or excuse me, Jam Printing Information. We'll get to InVets as well. We are coming to the InVets restart zone, but Jam Printing and Promotion, since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community, as the Jam Printing and Promotions truck will come into the InVets restart zone, and off and away they'll go. And we're back underway here from Richmond.
Interestingly enough, Gardner pitted that time through, so he's back now in 12th. Not quite sure. I didn't get to keep an eye on him as for why he made that choice, but it's bold to be back there in the mix of things.
It is, yeah. He's going to be putting a lot of traffic here. That's maybe something we wouldn't expect the pole sitter to be in, as this battle here is Levi McCarty, Chance Taylor on the bottom, that 14 truck, holding tough and holding strong on the inside of McCarty, who entered third into the points tonight. And then the two cut line drivers, the 87 and then 49, Bontrager and Ham. Ham has a 1-point advantage over the 49 truck here right now. This is just lap 10 of 130, still 120 laps to settle it out here, but that 87 and 49 right nose to tailgate here down the backstretch. That'll be something to monitor as this race goes on, as Taylor continues to fight underneath McCarty here for the third place position, as Drabick is the leader of the race, followed by Jacob Allington in second.
Yeah, this is a big battle right now here for third between the 24 and the 14. That 14's been holding down that inside line. The 24, McCarty, just can't seem to get the drive off that he needs to get clear of Taylor. But it's only a matter of time before one of them has to give up just enough space. But it will not be this time around. Still side by side into turn 1. This is a good, hard battle right here.
It sure is, and these could continue to fight hard. McCarty trying to maybe pinch Taylor down as Taylor sends it into the inside of the 24, and just can't get the drive off as you see him slide the rear end of that truck. And good save, but don't want to anger these tires at a track where tires just seem to mean so much. Any little bit of slip takes life away, and that's not something you want to do if you're going to have a 50 plus lap run.
Yeah, and strategy is going to be a big factor here, since we only have 3 sets of tires over the wall. Obviously we have to pit for fuel with that 50% fuel load, but it's going to be a kind of a gamble. A lot of these guys got in here nice and early, put down a lot of practice laps, figured out what their stint could be. And we're going to see a mixture of strategy out here all throughout the field.
We sure are, and maybe we'll see some drivers try to split it in half, or maybe some drivers try to cut this in thirds. We'll have to see what is the right strategy, as Taylor falls finally behind the 24 of McCarty, but he's not done yet. He'll go back to the inside and underneath the 24, but we'll see. He's going to try to at least get it there, but McCarty shuts the door on the 14 of Taylor and now allows Ham to close up behind them. Craig Bontrager under pressure from Dover winner Jamie Barkas, and good to see Jamie back in the field here tonight, as he's underneath Bontrager, just slides up and almost makes contact to the door of the 49. And Bontrager can't really afford to lose sight of that 87 of Ham, who now pulls about 2 points ahead with this pass being done.
This is putting some of these playoff drivers in a high alert situation now. Got to start making moves. Granted, it's early, but at a track like this, you want to be up at the front. You don't want to lose sight of the leaders. So we're taking a look at that 4 who was involved in that first caution there, rear-ended, but looking healthy on that back bumper now. It's Mike Browning out here with the burnouts for Bennett. That would be Mike Browning's nephew, who was recently diagnosed with leukemia. So thoughts out to Bennett for that. We'll be supporting him as much as we can here throughout this race tonight and in the future. Best of luck to Bennett for that endeavor. Maybe we'll see Mike Browning make his way back up to the front and put down a nice burnout at the end of this race for him.
Absolutely, that'd be cool, and we're hoping, praying there for Bennett, and hope he's watching here tonight. If he is, buddy, shout out to you, and thank you for your support and watching us our race tonight, watching your uncle perform here at the Richmond Raceway. And man, he's doing a good job battling up here. I know he's got a couple laps down, but you never know what can happen in this race to get Mike back on the lead lap and get some spots later in this race. Is old Barkus maybe having an issue down the front stretch? It's really, really slow for the 15 truck and losing a whole lot of spots and continuing to maybe be off the pace. I'm not really sure what the issue is for the 15, and he's still losing spots down the backstretch.
Very odd seeing the 15 staying low and slow, but looks like he's going to bring it down pit lane this time. Not sure what the issue at hand would be.
Sounds like there's still a little bit of power to that truck. We'll take a look at the replay. Battling with Jeremy Gardner, who came into pit road. I don't know, it just looked like he slowed down. Gardner got in the back of him, and really, I don't know if it came out of gear maybe. That's not something you really see a lot in iRacing, where it just looked like he had no power. Once he got that bump, it just slowed middle of the corner, and then from there, it was just off the pace the entire time. So, be interested to see what happened there to Jenny Barkus, who's now sitting in pit road idle and just stuck. I don't know, Logan. This kind of has me in awe.
Yeah, it's very well could be more of a mechanical failure on the sim rig side of things. That does happen from time to time, but Jamie Barkus playing it safe and bringing it down pit road, not to be the one to cause any incidents in this race. We may be getting a chance to see him back out on the track later on. We're coming around now. Dravik still in command of this race right now with the 27 of Ellingson in tow.
And Ellingson, I mean, we can't help but sing the praises of this guy, and he's been so fast, almost week in and week out. And if he made the chase, I guarantee he would have had. I guarantee he would be one of the championship favorites. And he's been so good. Just hasn't had the finishes, like we say every week. It just seems like something goes wrong for Jacob Ellingson. If he can put one race together, I think he can win. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. I had the pleasure of watching Jacob Ellingson finish out in the top 3 just a couple nights ago. I told him he has to carry that momentum into Friday, and he said he's going to do it. So I'm holding him to that standard.
It looks like he's doing just that, running in the top 3 behind the tailgate of Patrick Dravik in the 07, who's looking to have a calm, cool, and collected night, but with the win can have some extra momentum, not only locking himself into the championship race at Darlington next week, but also going in with a lot of momentum, getting this win. I think would honestly, it's close to put him and Gardner as, maybe the 2 best drivers we see consistently over the years or over the season. And they'll both have 2 wins going into Darlington, but Dravik doing a good job. Started on outside pole, now has led a majority of this race after Gardner, who's kind of still stuck in 7th, surprisingly, hasn't really been able to move up through the field, as we're on board with Brandon Wallace on the in-car camera as he battles Charles Phelps for the 15th position. It was still hanging on his outside, but he'll complete the pass and now works on George Jewell in the 36 ahead of him for the 13th position on the racetrack. And what an interesting race we've seen so far. And the question now becomes pit stops. When will they happen? And how much do these tires begin to fall off? Richmond, one of those tracks where it's, I guess, more of the more profound tracks of tire fall off throughout a race.
Yeah, this one will be a big factor of tire fall off. I mentioned that earlier. Strategy is going to be all over the place, but there's a lot of movement in the field. Most of these drivers able to at least gain one position. A lot of them falling back as well due to, just how slippery this track is. Now we're watching Chuck Phelps. And I say it every time, but that's not a guy you want to mess with by any means. That 75 driver, he will tear you to shreds.
Yeah, I don't think he's one of those guys that we would want to mess with at any time, as he's doing good here, running in the 15th position, and it gives us a chance to give a shout out to the Veterans for Life Foundation. The goal of the Veterans for Life Foundation is to both revitalize communities and supporting military veterans and their families' successful transition back into civilian life. Through support services, counseling, and education, they provide permanent, affordable housing to veterans and their families, and we appreciate how they do and what they do here for the Goat Locker Racing community and everything that they do for sponsors. If we take a look at our live standings, Craig Bontrager still trailing 1 point behind Jake Ham, who is right in his grasp, who's not too far ahead, only a half a second separating them. But the pole sitter, Jeremy Gardner, he's closing up on him, and that could be a valuable position and point lost here. He needs to find just a little bit extra maybe to put some pressure on Jake Ham, who runs in 5th.
Tyler Justice, Howie DiSavino, obviously with Michael Kostick not in this race, able to join into the conversation a little bit more, but they still need to make plenty of room. They have to win this race to make it to that championship 4. Otherwise, we're looking at Drabick, McCarty, Ham, and Bontrager being the biggest topic of conversation for this race.
And we look at DiSavino, who's running 8th, and Justice running 10th. Those drivers are going to need to find a little bit extra gears. They're both in this frame here with Jimmy Mullins separating them. But DiSavino wanted Atlanta, and really he's been consistent, but just hasn't had that extra little bit to maybe get himself a win or get himself some top 5s. He's going to need to find a little extra here if he wants to be racing for a championship next week at the track Too Tough to Tame at Darlington Raceway. You'll see live here on V-Speed on next Friday night. And boy, that's going to be an interesting one. At Darlington, arguably the hardest oval NASCAR will go to all season. That's your championship race, and that is going to be a sight to see, I must say. And I highly recommend you tune into that race next Friday night.
Absolutely, but first we have to get through this one.
Absolutely.
It's going by rather quickly, coming up on 40 laps already out of our 130 for the night. Drabick still in command. Ellingson just a little over a 1 second gap from first to second, but we're looking back here in the 11th position. Logan Sturgeon battling with the 85 of Goshen.
Ooh, and tried to shut the door on him, going off a 4, but Sturgeon going to run him high, and now Goshen will go way up into the racetrack and into the marbles, it seems, and see if he's able to get the run off the exit of the corner. He will, and he stays side by side with Sturgeon. And Sturgeon, one of those drivers that was having a solid run at Michigan last week, but trying to back it up here once again. This is the battle for 11th. 4 trucks in this battle is a crossover from Goshen to the inside of Sturgeon, and he gets really loose underneath of him, and that Sturgeon just trying to pin him down and make him have to get into the gas later, and looks like that will work, and Sturgeon will prevail ahead to 11th, but Goshen not done yet. George Jewell and Brendan Wallace have now joined the battle here, and they'll look to try to get by the 85 of Goshen.
And we've got the yellow 36, or the yellow and white, rather, 36 of George Jewell. So we're now on board with the InVets in-car camera with him, watching this battle in front of him. Big movement out of the 85 of Goshen right in front of him, but Brandon Wallace in tow as well. Both of those drivers between Jewell and Wallace just waiting for these two, or one of them, if not both of them, to make a mistake.
Make a mistake, that's for sure, is the InVets in-car camera. George Jewell. Oh, there's a mistake right there from Goshen, and now Jewell will get to the outside of the 85 truck, and now Wallace will be right in the midst of the battle as well. And Goshen may be struggling with some rear grip here as we hit lap 42 on the board into turn 1. And this continues to be the battle now for 12th. Goshen slides up the racetrack. Jewell goes even higher, but Jewell will finally clear off of turn 2, and he gets that spot away from the 85. And man, that was a pretty wild battle there. Now the 85 slipping back to the 99 of Wallace. And this top 5 now getting a little more spread out. It seems like Drabick opening up a big lead, almost 2 seconds over Jacob Ellingson, and then another 2.5 to Levi McCarty. But this is an interesting battle. Chance Taylor, Jake Ham needing this extra spot to get a little more cushion to that cutoff line.
Yeah, he needs every extra point that he can. Bontrager right there, hot on his tail. And again, separated by only 1 point.
Yes, sir. And these guys continue to battle. This is the battle for fourth on the racetrack here. And Ham, like we said, needing that position. Bontrager is just a little bit behind them, trailing by about a second or so back from Jake Ham and Chance Taylor in the 14. And they'll be coming into turn 3 here. And we'll see them come through the InVets restart zone here. They're painted in blue there. And probably give a shout out to InVets and what they do. InVets aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They are a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to the state to live and work. They are the title sponsor of the Sunday Truck Series. And we appreciate everything that InVets does. Is how about this? A development in the race. That's Levi McCarty bringing it to pit road.
Yeah, McCarty bringing it down early. Right here, coming up on lap 50 now. But McCarty coming in. We've got the 33 on its way out. Tyler Justice now looking to get back out on the track with some fresh tires and make up some ground.
And now leader Drabick is into pit road, and that leaves Ellingson on the racetrack. Bontrager comes in as Ham stays out. And this will be interesting. And maybe McCarty trying to cover off Drabick here. And what these guys need to hope for is no caution now to come out as McCarty exits pit road, and now Drabick begins service on his 07 Creepsicle machine. And this now becomes a battle for second. Is Ham going to get by Chance Taylor here, and he'll move up another spot? But when does he pit? Because now Craig Bontrager has come in and more than likely probably jump him over the pit cycle.
I would have to say we'll see Jake Ham stay out as long as he stays ahead of Taylor right now. Wait for Ellingson to come down pit road so he can collect that extra bonus point for a lead lap.
And this is going to be something to monitor as well. Tyler Justice speeding on pit road. He comes back in to serve his penalty and will fall multiple laps down as the green flag racing conditions continue. And this is going to be probably the end of his championship hopes as he continues to sit idle in pit road as he serves his speeding penalty. And I think right now, he continues to stay in there. So maybe more than a speeding penalty, or he exits. But a big development for this championship 4 battle.
Yeah, it essentially takes Tyler Justice out of the conversation. However, we still have plenty of race to go. There is still a chance for him. We're going to continue to see him turn some laps out here and hope for the best.
We sure will, and this has to make you think that some of these drivers are going to try to split this race into thirds, as we've seen guys still coming in. Maybe can Ellingson stretch it another 10 or so laps to, at least give himself a shot to make it on one stop here as he leads by over a second and a half over Jake Ham, who was sitting on the cut line, but now above it, but he hasn't completed his pit stop cycle yet as Chance Taylor exits pit road and gets back onto the racetrack. Here comes Ellingson into pit road, and now Jake Ham will get a lap led and will be the leader of this race. For Ham, though, you got to think maybe he's hoping for a caution to come out because he's given up a lot of time staying out on pit road. Or staying out before coming into pit road, I should say.
He is, but he's also going to have an advantage, at least for a little while, having the fresher tires and, most importantly, collecting that extra bonus point.
He will, and he's coming in now, this time by after getting that lap led. Mullins now stays on the racetrack and will get the lead of the race. And a crucial pit stop, doesn't need a speed or anything, cannot afford to speed on pit road because that could be the end of his championship hopes here as the only driver to win back-to-back races this season and was the first driver to win multiple races this season as Mullins now brings it to pit lane, and that gives the lead over to Jeremy Gardner, who was the pole sitter. And mind you, like we said earlier in this race, he pitted early. This could have been a part of that pitting early strategy and getting some extra fuel to maybe just cut this race in half.
I didn't quite think about that earlier, but that does make a lot of sense. We were only 5 laps in, but
oh no, he's coming in.
42's bringing it back down.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't the right decision now that he comes in on lap 56 and only going to run 50 or so laps on those tires as Wallace will stay out on the racetrack. Goshen comes in and Matt Knights stays on the racetrack. So two drivers have yet to bring it to pit lane, and those two drivers hoping for a caution possibly here on the racetrack as Drabick back on the lead lap.
Ooh, this might be it.
That could be it.
Inside wall.
Is that Hand? It was Goshen. No, it might have been Jake Ham. It was Jake Ham who had a big moment off of turn 4, and that could have been costly. It doesn't look like he has any damage, but he was just getting his lap back, or one of his laps back, trying to pass the 99 of Brandon Wallace. As we take a look at the V-Speed instant replay here, and on board here on the InVet's in-car camera, yeah, just loses the back end there. Oh no, he did hit the inside wall, so he will have some damage. And how will that affect his race here, battling for that last spot into the playoffs? Because Bontrager now has 2 cars separating them, and 2 points separating them.
That lead lap gave him the bonus point, but pretty well immediately lost it with that. Like you said, doesn't appear to have a whole lot of damage, but what I am concerned of, Alec, is that front toe link.
Yeah, I'd be worried about that front suspension too. The left front tire seems to be sticking out of the left front fender well, and that could be mean possible suspension damage, a little bit of aero damage as they're not carrying a ton of speed here. But we'll look here at a close-up, and yeah, that's pretty heavy left front damage, but I feel like left front damage is better than right front damage, but no damage is better than some damage. That's, if there's any way to put it in some terms there. But Hand now continuing to be on the racetrack, but he's a second, 3.5 seconds actually behind Chance Taylor, who he passed on that run before he came in. So he's got a long way to go, and we'll have to see what happens as this race continues to go on.
Yeah, now Bontrager, his competitor for this last spot, he's sitting up in third now.
He sure is, but we'll see if he can hold off Ellingson possibly, who's trailing 2 seconds behind, but has about 7 lap fresher tires. So that'll be something to monitor as well as this run goes on. So we could be looking at a possible tiebreaker here if things were to cycle out properly. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would really potentially throw out some controversy in this
Sure
mix.
would. And now, if it does go to highest finisher in the race, Bontrager would have that. And if it goes highest finisher in the round, Bontrager would also have that after his podium finish at Michigan just a week ago where he got third. So this could be, who knows? You never know how these races over a season can affect or hurt your season. But for Craig Bontrager, it could be one that helps him here. As, Sturgeon has a big moment in front of him.
We talked about it pre-race. That exit of turn 4 is ultra slippery. So keep an eye on that as Brandon Wallace just had a moment right in front of him as well coming off that corner. But able to hold it down, kept it straight on the racetrack. And that's what matters.
And he's hoping for a little bit more calmness here in this race. And who knows, with the way the handling of these trucks seem to be going away long runs, if we get a late race caution, short track racing, there's going to be a lot more on the line here. Will tempers flare? I think got to be certain bumpers will be put to tailgates, but that'll be something to see if a late race caution happens. And just the way the field is cycling out, pit stops, low grip on this racetrack, high tire wear, that sometimes leads to mistakes. And when these trucks sometimes step out, it's hard to get them saved.
Very much is. As we're looking at Levi McCarty in that 24, currently sitting in second. Little fun fact for you. Levi McCarty has an average finish of 5th for this entire season. So seeing this guy up here in the top 5, that's just so consistent. And you know what my favorite saying is, Alec? Consistency is key.
That is ridiculous. And he did get a win at Phoenix a couple races ago, but earlier in the season, it was a dominant win. But like you said, the model of consistency in this series has been Levi McCarty. And, end of these races, we talk about some of these guys just being there at the end, and Levi McCarty seems to always be a key factor no matter where we go, no matter what racetrack we race at and how the conditions are. McCarty just finds a way to be up there, and with an average finish of 5, I mean, this man doesn't finish outside the top 5 very often.
Yeah, and there is nothing to complain about with that at all. That is a prime example of why McCarty is in this chase for the championship for here tonight.
I mean, just wow. That's actually a pretty amazing stat. So that's good to see there. As man, what a long green flag run we've had, but it gives us another chance to give a shout out to Cruising Classics. Cruising Classics, located in Columbus, Ohio. Cruising Classics has a beautiful 56,000 square foot showroom filled with hundreds of unique automobiles. There's something for everybody out there. Hand-picked selection of muscle cars and hot rods. Come on down and visit the facility today and check out their website at cruisingclassicsinc.com. We appreciate their sponsorship in the Veterans for Life Racing Truck Series, as Bontrager is going to be knocking on Levi McCarty's door, but don't look now. Here comes Jacob Ellingson with way fresher tires, and both of them, he's knocking on both of their doors.
Yeah, he closed that 1 second gap very, very quickly. Ellingson just needs to keep himself out of trouble. Continue to cruise on way up through this pack.
And same with Bontrager. Can't afford to have anything happen. Can't afford to bleed points. Get himself in a wreck and eliminate himself from championship contention as he continues to stay just a little bit ahead of Jake Ham. And into turn one they'll go. McCarty seems to be really, really falling off this run. And the lap truck of Sturgeon has been the thorn in Bontrager's side so far this entire run. He's been trying to find a way around him. Even lost it in front of him. Had a great save, but really, really hurting Bontrager, who's just kind of forced on the outside.
Also hurting Ellingson. As we were on that onboard camera, we could see Ellingson struggling to pick a lane to go for because they were just battling so hard in front of him. One would have an edge out of the corner. Ellingson gets massively loose down the backstretch, holds it down, but he's going to lose some of that time and some of that tire advantage.
Wow, what a save from Jacob Ellingson. That could have been a costly, costly error. As now McCarty trying to work around Phelps in the 75 up ahead. A little bit of lap traffic maybe hurting these drivers. It's a 6 seconds, or excuse me, a 5.5 second lead almost for Patrick Drabick in the 07, who continues to dominate this race here from Richmond. McCarty finally gets by Phelps, but Phelps almost makes contact there with Bontrager and Ellingson, and that gets one lap car out of the mix. But now Sturgeon trying to get around McCarty as Ellingson almost put in the bumper to the back of Craig Bontrager, and we'll see into turn 3. Bontrager holds on to the spot, but Ellingson wanting it, and he might just get it here off of 4.
Yeah, Bontrager a little bit high on that entry. Ellingson saw the opportunity, got his nose in there, and now they're side by side.
Can he clear him is the question. Bontrager's going to try to pinch Ellingson as low as he can. Maybe pinch him behind the lap truck of Sturgeon as they go into turn number 3. Ellingson able to hook that yellow line on the bottom, one of the more key factors of being fast here at Richmond, hooking the yellow line as he stays even here with Bontrager as we're on board with the 27. And now into turn 1, Ellingson maybe overcooked the corner a little bit, but he gets the power down. Bontrager pitching him low. They almost make contact off of turn number 2, and now Chance Taylor begins to reel these drivers in.
Taylor looking to throw his name back in the hat up here.
This is some good racing here as Ellingson continues to try to work around the 49 of Bontrager. This time off of 2, Bontrager will stay and pull up to the door of the 27 of Ellingson, but into turn number 3, Bontrager sends it in high, but he can't get to the gas like the 27 can, but he's able to just pinch the 27 off of turn 4 and hurt his momentum off the exit. And now the lap truck of Sturgeon beginning maybe to be more of a factor here as more dirty air goes to the nose of the 27, but it looks like that won't be the case because Ellingson finally clears Bontrager into turn number 3.
Now Ellingson can focus on getting around the 26 and start making his way up to the back bumper, the 24 McCarty.
Yeah, we'll see as the 26 now going underneath McCarty and probably hurting his chances of getting the run he would like to get. And we look now 2 points still separating Bontrager and Ham for that final cutoff spot next week at Darlington, which is the championship race. As Ellingson now closing up to the back of Levi McCarty and to the outside of Logan Sturgeon here And there is nothing like a short track Friday night under the lights here at the Richmond Raceway as McCarty gets off the corner, clears the 26 of Sturgeon, and now Ellingson will look to clear the lap truck of Sturgeon, but Ellingson with a significant tire advantage here as this race has flown by and less than 50 laps to go now here at Richmond, which will go by in a blink of an eye, and still one more set of pit stops to go as McCarty now trying to hold on and hold off the 27 of Ellingson here into turn number 3. On board with Levi McCarty. Ellingson going to the inside, just see if he's able to complete this pass here in this lap.
Near contact coming across the start-finish line. But the 27, he's going to get almost door to door. Not quite.
Close, and now he goes back down to the inside here. Levi McCarty on the outside, black 24. On the inside, it's, man, a little bit of contact there, also. Maybe a little more there between the 27 of Jacob Ellingson on the inside, that red and white truck. Two Chevys battling for second here off of turn 2. Ellingson pinched on the bottom. McCarty up on the outside. Almost a little bit more contact. Oh, Bontrager caught the wall back behind them. And just might have gotten to the wall there off of 2 as Ellingson clears. McCarty has a run. He goes back down, but he won't be able to get to him as a little bit of a bump into 1. Maybe more of a bump going into 1, but this time he'll relinquish the spot. And Ellingson goes back up to second. McCarty back down to 3rd. Now, Bontrager's really falling off here. This is going to be interesting to monitor because now Chance Taylor has caught the back, and don't look now, Gardner is there, and Jake Ham still about 2 seconds back. But right now, with the way the points sit, if Ham is to, or excuse me, if Bontrager's to lose those 2 spots, they're now tied. Oh, McCarty, big moment off of 2. Oh, I think Bontrager's pitting.
It sure looks like it. He's going to have to watch that speed on the entry.
He's hit the pit
barrels.
Oh, my goodness, and the pressure gets to him. Bontrager hits the pit barrels. And this time he'll get it right around, but now he loses a bunch of time and has heavy damage to the 49 truck.
Not at all what Bontrager needed right there.
Knowing he needed to do something to get the handling off. We're on the InVets in-car camera, and we'll see what happened on board with Craig Bontrager. Knowing he needs to pit, knowing he needs to get every single inch out of that truck to get to the championship 4, locks up the tires, knows he's going to miss it, and he just clips the pit barrels, and valuable seconds costed as his pit stop gets completed. But he'll now exit pit road way more behind than where he started, and now is going to have to climb his way through the field.
Yeah, that incident there costed Craig Bontrager about 8 seconds. And 8 seconds.
There he goes! He's in the wall!
Spin it again!
He's more just starting to unravel. Now he gets right in front of Ellingson and McCarty, but this race falling apart for Craig Bontrager, and it makes you wonder how much damage is done to that 49 truck. And right now he is trying to wheel it here, but it's slipping through his fingertips, slipping through the grasp of Craig Bontrager, and he is struggling with that 49 truck.
Now that could just be a factor of cold tires, or it could be some damage on that rear tire.
What a save from Bontrager. I don't know how that wasn't a caution, but a huge save from the 49, but a lot of that new tire life that he had is now gone. And now he has to make up 7 points to get to at least a tie on Jake Ham, as Ham now responding, bringing it to pit road, and he gets service to his 87 truck. He cannot afford to have a penalty.
And this should put those two really close as Ham's going to come out.
And Ham took 2 tires on that pit stop.
Ooh,
that is an interesting strategy with more than 35 laps to go. I can't say I like that one now, because now he's going to slide. He might spin. Go sideways. Both drivers on the cut line making huge mistakes. Ham is loose, but he saves it. But now he's going to have heated up, but with way older left sides.
I have to say I'm with you on that, Alec. I don't think that's the correct call there.
An unnecessary strategy unnecessary strategy move as we got trouble in the front stretch. One car is around, it's Chuck Phelps on the inside. He's spinning around on the infield as Drabick into pit road. And he'll tow, no caution will come out. That could have been a huge race flipping incident as we'll look at the replay. That turn 4 looking to bite once again and somehow no caution coming out. Wow. Incredible. As Drabick and Ellingson get service to their trucks, they're out of pit road off and away scot-free. Wow, man, oh man, what could have been for so many possibilities in this race. Jake Ham still on 2 tires, only 1 spot separating he and Craig Bontrager. But here's the difference. Even though Bontrager is behind him, he has fresher left side tires. How much of a difference will that make?
I think that's going to boil down to being a huge difference at the end of this run. You can't imagine any of these drivers coming back in for another pit stop before the end of this race. So I have to say, I think Bontrager's on the correct strategy here. I don't think the 87 team made the correct call.
Oh, that was a close moment between Knights, Browning, and now Jake Ham as he goes by. Knights almost gets into the back of Browning, and now Ham will go right on by, but it seems like unlike Craig Bontrager and Jake Ham to make such mistakes, to make such strategy calls, but it just shows the pressure that these drivers are under to get to that championship race as DiSavino now brings it down pit lane. Wallace is in, and I believe those are the only 2 to bring it down pit road. Even Jeremy Gardner is just exiting, got his service done.
We've got 2 drivers left on the field up here in the top 5 that have not pit yet. But it looks like Logan Sturgeon might be making his way.
Yeah, that's a big thing. DiSavino speeding on pit road. That's going to end his chances at a championship because he'll have to serve a 40-second penalty as he now continues to serve that and will eliminate him from playoff contention. It's now 5 drivers battling for 3 spots. Or excuse me, 4 drivers battling for 3 spots, and the main highlight is this driver right here. Craig Bontrager made a costly error into pit road, hitting the back end against the pit barrels. Has a little bit of damage, almost spun on his outlap, getting out of pit road. But now he's going to have to reel in the 87 of Jake Ham to have any sort of hope of making it into the championship 4. He sits now 2 seconds behind, or I should say, 4 seconds behind the 87, but has fresher left side tires and 30 laps to do it. Can he do it?
Alec, I don't know about you, buddy, but I am on the edge of my seat right now. This is boiled down to be a wild, wild race.
This is going to be wild. I mean, can Bontrager find that extra gear and get to the 87 of Ham, who has older tires? It's going to be a tall task, but is it possible? Are those left side tires going to be the difference? Although only 30 laps fresher, is there going to be enough time for Bontrager to pull about 8 or 9 seconds? And right now they're running about the same lap times.
I don't know. I mean, we might have been criticizing that call a little bit too much.
Yeah, in this race, just some people, you just might want to have a nice cold drink while you're enjoying this race, and that's why Hidden Wit Brewery is there to help you with that. It's Hidden Wit Brewery Company was born from the desire to help you find a little escape from the world outside their doors. Their focus from the beginning has always been to craft drinkable beers you love to enjoy, and they are a majority veteran-owned and the title sponsor of the Tuesday Xfinity Series. And just after this race, you might want to enjoy a nice cold one after how wild and crazy that this race has become, as Bontrager sits 4 points behind Jake Ham. Maybe at a certain point might need a caution as Sturgeon brings it into pit lane, as Goshen continues to lead and has yet to pit, but he just lost the lead to the driver who's dominated this night. Was dominated most of this race and dominated most of the night, Patrick Drabick, who is walking away with the win as Goshen now bringing down pit road. But now just hoping for no caution. Doesn't need a caution here, and he will be looking to go for a championship next Friday night at Darlington.
The 87's sideways on the backstretch.
You're right, he is. And he's around. That might be the caution. He's just stopped there, and a big mistake, and maybe the two-tire call affecting him as he loses that spot to Bontrager. Wow, is that Chance Taylor behind him? And maybe a little bit of contact might have done so, and it did, and he spun him around. And Jake Ham, not a happy camper over the radio. And look at that. We have a tie now in the points and on the cut line.
And do recall, as Alec mentioned earlier, tiebreaker will go to Craig Bontrager for the better finish. So Jake Ham has to make something happen now. He needs to gain another spot.
What he needs to do is he needs to hold off that 99.
And that spot belongs to Bontrager that he needs.
It does, and now Ham trails Bontrager by 6 seconds. Wallace on the Invets in-car camera, trailing right behind the 87 of Ham, who sits just on the cut line with the tiebreaker at the moment. Now Wallace looks to the inside, the most important battle Jake Ham will have to have all season for 8th. Can Wallace do it? Can Ham hold him off? Can Bontrager get another spot? But it's 6 seconds up the road for him, and that's Chance Taylor sitting in 6th. Ham now trying to hold off Brandon Wallace here for what is 8th on the racetrack.
And this cutoff line just got flipped on its head.
It sure did. Wallace looks low. Ham cuts him off, but he misses the apex of the corner. And boy, does Brandon Wallace, he might not even know the role he's playing in this race. Can Wallace...
Go ahead, Alex.
Well, sorry to cut you off there, but can Wallace find a way around him?
I was just about to mention Wallace does have 6 lap fresher tires, so he's going to take a look to the inside now. He's going to get there to the door of the 87. He's on the pedal just a little bit sooner. Not quite enough to make it all the way around. But I think it's only a matter of time here before Wallace is able to clear the 87.
Ooh.
There it is as Jake Ham goes for the undercut but does not get it. Brandon Wallace takes away that 8th position.
It sure was, and what a move as Wallace goes by and knocks Ham out of the cut line and out of the championship 4. Ham hits the wall off of 4. Behind them, McCarty and Gardner going at it for 3rd. That is a lead lap battle. And mind you, if a caution were to come out, Wallace now has the lucky dog. Ham slides sideways, and now he's starting to feel the pressure. He's starting to feel the championship 4 spot slip through his fingertips. Oh man, Gardner just cuts off McCarty, and they'll now go to the lap machine of Ham, who hits the wall in the entry of the corner. And I think it's just unraveling for the 87 team.
It is not looking promising at all. What the 87 needs right now is a caution where everybody else on the field is hoping there's not one.
This is just going to be so interesting to watch if we get a caution with now 15 laps to go in this race from Richmond, what has been an absolute barn burner in terms of the cutoff line. Gardner has somehow worked himself up into the 3rd spot and now sets his sights on Ellingson for 2nd as Gardner continues to ride in 3rd, and it only makes you wonder, what if he didn't pit? Would he have been racing right there with Patrick Drabick? And it looks like Ham's just falling off here, and he might lose another spot to Goshen here and fall back to 10th, and those points are going to be gone. And look up the road as well. With Patrick Drabick, the next truck he is going to lap is the 49 of Bontrager. And with that happening, if a caution comes out, Bontrager will get that lucky dog and will be the first truck a lap down, but will also be, when he gets that lucky dog, he'll be the first truck to get back on the lead lap and pin Ham and Wallace down. Wow.
Man, I'm
amazing.
at a loss of words.
Oh, man. And you can see Bontrager, he's trying to stay on that lead lap. He is wheeling and dealing.
Bontrager's going to do everything that he can to stay on the lead lap, but Drabick, man, he has had all of the speed all night. 6-second gap back to 2nd. And by the end of this, I think he'll be closing in on 100 laps led.
He sure will be, and he is setting a blistering pace all night ever since he got the lead And once he got it, he really hasn't looked back from it here. But he's got to be smart. Bontrager's got to be smart and know that he's ahead of him. He just needs to keep it there. Cannot afford to make a mistake and spin. And especially doesn't want to get in front and take Drabik out of this race who's leading.
That would be a worst case scenario for Drabik. So he's going to play it safe here. He knows he's got some distance to second place. He won't take any unnecessary risks. We've got him on the driver cam now. And one thing I have to say, the driver of the 07, always calm, cool, and collected.
Absolutely. That's consistency right there. That face, that focusedness is what we always see out of Drabik as he'll officially clear the 49 of Bontrager and put him one lap down. And now we'll look at the points. 1 point separating Drabik and Bontrager here to the final round. One final spot for the championship round. Bontrager 1 lap down, but sits first truck a lap down. Jake Ham sitting a lap down is 9th. 2 points will get him in, but can he find something? He needs something to fall his way. A caution, some misfortune for the drivers ahead of him really are his only chance. Battle for second on the racetrack. It's Ellingson and Gardner. Ellingson has set a good pace, kind of rode in second most of this race, but Gardner, what could have been for him, and maybe going 2 in a row and having ultimate momentum into the championship race. He won at Michigan a week ago. He started on the pole here, but now looks to get second and at least finish behind his other championship rival, Patrick Drabik, who he'll also see next week at Richmond, barring any bit of a caution to come out to affect any of the outcome of this race.
Oh, man.
What a wild one we've seen here today. Truly one of the wild ones here is 5 laps to go. We'll be coming by next time when Drabik will cross the start-finish line. This a good battle for second. Ellingson, who's put together one of the more consistent and probably one of the best races he's put together start to finish this season, as Gardner looks to the outside, might try to get to the outside of him, but won't be able to at least stick there. Oh man, Ellingson shuts the door, but a crossover from Gardner here for second.
Gardner had a beautiful move there. Wow.
Great move, but Alex is not done yet. He'll cross back over to the inside. Oh, almost a little contact on the exit of the corner. Browning exiting pit road behind them. And now Gardner has the spot over Ellingson. Move the 42 to second and the 27 down to third. 4 laps to go here from the Richmond Raceway. And what has been one of the more wild and crazy ones you'll ever see here. And it just goes to show a testament to this season and how amazing, how entertaining it's been, Logan. It's been one of the most entertaining seasons I've ever had. The pleasure of broadcasting.
Absolutely, and I would dare to venture and say that this puts the ultimate in the penultimate race.
Oh my gosh. It sure does. Thank you for that, Logan. It sure has.
Get a pun in at some point.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it was a good one at that. As Jake Ham continuing to lose spots. This one might be another one. It might just be the dagger for the 87 team. As James Goshen, who is a teammate, will he stay behind him or will he pass him? This is for 9th on the racetrack. 2 laps to go for the creamsicle machine of Patrick Drabik and the Jam Printing and Promotion Chevrolet Silverado. Into turn 3, he'll have just 0.8 of a mile to go. White flag in the air. Race is official. Drabik, who won at Nashville Superspeedway early in the season, the second race of the season, has been consistent all year, and tonight has put an exclamation point on this season by opening up and giving himself a championship berth. Off of turn 4, Patrick Drabik will drift across the start-finish line and win at Richmond, and he will race for a championship next week at the track Too Tough to Tame. My goodness, what a race, and he's already celebrating early as the checkered flag falls, and the points will come across the board, and Craig Bontrager will just edge out Jake Ham and race for a championship in 4th in the standings, and Mr. Consistency himself, Levi McCarty, will also race for a championship next week. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your championship 4 for next week's race at Darlington, as Patrick Drabik burns it down on the front stretch. Some burnouts for Bennett here down the front stretch here at Richmond. And what a win.
Absolutely. And, you know, with all the excitement up here for Drabik, Gardner with a second place finish. Jake Ellingson, man, finally has some luck go his way.
And a great run for him, and what a race we saw today as Dravic burning it down on the front stretch in the Commonwealth State. And what a victory for him, as we'll get one last. If you didn't enjoy that, Nasty's Bar and Restaurant, what a race they were treated to. If it was on, man, oh man, what an awesome race we saw. As in March 21st, 2012, Nasty's opened its doors in Hilliard, Ohio. From the get-go, they aimed to embody the energy and passion their sons Nathan and John poured into their dreams. Nathan's commitment to hospitality ensured that every guest received exceptional food, and they are the co-sponsors of Wednesday's Next Gen series, and they have hosted numerous fundraisers in their establishment with the goal of raising funds to donate a sim rig to a deserving veteran or first responder. And we appreciate their sponsorship in the night. And what a race we saw here from the Richmond Raceway. And how about we go to our winner, Patrick Dravic?
Yeah, absolutely.
See if we can make it. There it is. Patrick Dravic, Alec and Logan in the VSP booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Hell yeah, I do!
Well, congratulations, buddy. Not only on the win, you're going to be racing for a championship next week at Darlington. How does it feel?
Golly, man. What a damn race. Sweating bullets through the pit stops and everything else, praying they were going to go green through, and to bring this 07 Jam Printing and Promotions Chevy Silverado home with the victory tonight feels absolutely amazing.
For sure. And next week, we'll go to what will be, as you fling the water bottle, next week, the championship at Darlington. You're going to be racing Gardner, you're going to be racing McCarty, and you're going to be racing Bontrager. How does it feel to go race for this championship, and what are your expectations for next week and who you're going to be racing?
Man, I just expect to have a hell of a great time. Darlington's one hell of a track. I like the track a lot. Some guys don't. I think it's going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun. It's going to come down to tire management and how you manage that race. And I think that's a great way to have a championship race when you throw those different types of factors in there. So we're going to go hit that lady in black, and we're going to see if we can't park this thing in victory lane for the 2 weeks in a row and bring home this championship.
For sure. Well, we appreciate your time there, Patrick. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to here tonight for this win?
Yeah, I mean, Jam Printing and Promotion's been on the side of my truck for years now. They're a phenomenal partner. Love them to death. So happy to bring them home victory for the second time this season, which is absolutely amazing. Lincoln Tech and everything that they do to sponsor the fall series and all the events that we have done with them. Hidden Wit Brewery, which is a phenomenal organization that has done a lot for us on Tuesdays, along with Howie DiSavino, which has been awesome. Cruising Classics and Nasties. You know, the Veterans for Life Foundation and Veterans for Life Racing, who sponsors this here this evening. Jamie Perkins does a lot for veterans all across the nation and everything that he does. And Operation Valor will be coming on here soon as well. InVets on Sunday. I know you guys probably had a good time with InVets and the in-car camera and whatever the heck else y'all came up with, which is super, super cool. And then all our other partners, you guys there at V-Speed, who do amazing work week in and week out for us. Maconi and Maconi Entertainment, and that's our 360 network, you know, and then all our sponsors that make everything happen when we do our veteran sim rigs, from Sim Motion to Next Level Racing to Alexander PCs. What an amazing group of people we're surrounded by and the things that we get to do. What an amazing group of drivers that come out here every freaking Friday night and go racing. And my teammates were absolutely clutch here this evening, keeping my head in the game and all that stuff. But fuck yeah, we won one.
Absolutely. Appreciate it there, Patrick. And we thank you for what you do here. And congratulations. And we'll see you next week at the championship race at Darlington.
Woo!
That's Patrick Dravic. Apologies for the language, but he's excited, and we'll move on to our second place finisher, Logan. I believe you're with him.
Yeah, we've got Jeremy Gardner down here after a great race last week. Follows up with another fantastic finish here. Second place for you, Jeremy. You know, it came down to the wire. We saw a lot of battling there for you. Just overall, not too bad of a night for the 42 team. Run me through the last couple laps there as you're battling with Ellingson coming across that start-finish line.
Yeah, that was a fun race. I just said hell with it at the beginning of it. I was like, I'm just gonna go to the back, dude. I'm already in. I just wanted to have some fun tonight, to be honest. There towards the end, I mean, I had the freshest tires out of everybody. I ended up burning it up though, trying to get the pad. I mean, I never was going to get to him. He was 6 seconds out. So overall, I'm proud of all the GLR guys tonight. We have one caution at Richmond. That's pretty damn impressive. So overall, it was a great night.
Yeah, fantastic night. So we're going into Darlington next week. How confident are you feeling? You've had, again, 2 great finishes back to back. Are you going to be able to carry this momentum into next week and see what you can do there and hopefully come out with a championship win?
Let's hope. Darlington's honestly probably my best track. If not, it's my second best track. So I've got a lot of confidence. I'm going to be able to take it home next week, but we'll see how it plays out.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, we've got 7 days until we see you again, but who do you have to shout out here for your success tonight?
Always Pat and Jamie at GLR. Appreciate everything they do for the veteran community and for our community. They're the best on the service. Lincoln Tech, Hiddenwood Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nashie's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, NVETS, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Nazareth 360, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PCs, SimMotion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, Above the Yellow Line, and my guys at Premier Setup Shop. And of course, y'all for putting the broadcast on. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you guys coming out consistently every week and allowing us to do so. Congratulations, Jeremy Gardner, 2nd place. We'll see you next week for the championship race.
Sounds good, buddy. We'll see you then.
That'll lead us into our 3rd place finisher, Jacob Ellingson. Alec, do you want this one, or
I think you deserve to talk to him. I think you deserve to talk to him, brother.
Jacob, my
how's it
man,
going?
we saw you finish. Fantastic Wednesday night. I'm so happy to see you up here in this 3rd place spot. It's been a long time coming. What are the emotions like right now for you?
Well, it's just I couldn't be happier to finish on the podium, let alone finish a race, in the truck series here. I mean, the talent that we have in this series is just next to phenomenal, and it's tough to finish races when everybody's so competitive and you want to try so hard to finish well and everything. So it feels good to come away with the 3rd place at least.
Absolutely, man. It's like I said, been a long time coming, a long season of unfortunate events for you. So very happy for you to be up here. Now we go into Darlington next week. Obviously, with all the mix up this season, not quite in the chase, but you can always make this a points game. Are you going to go out here and go for the win next week?
I actually won't be here next week for Darlington. I have prior engagements with the kids, and I'll be missing the championship race for the trucks. But not that I can say that I'll miss Darlington. That place can get filled with water and become a lake, if you ask my opinion. But I hope Pat, the best, my teammate. He's had a rough start to the season, but he's definitely finishing strong where he needs to, and I hope he comes away out on top.
Absolutely. That's what a good teammate does. You might not be there, but you're here in spirit. So
Exactly.
he's still finishing on a high note for the season. Looking forward to next, I'm sure. But Jacob, is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to?
I definitely got to thank Lincoln Tech for putting their name on this number 27 and sponsoring the fall series. Hiddenwood Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nashie's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, the title sponsor for Friday nights, Veterans for Life Racing, Jam Printing and Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V-Speed, Nazareth 360, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Alexander's PC, SimMotion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, Above the Yellow Line, and then please, for those listening, check out NVETS. They have a fundraiser going on. $1, $2, $5, $10, anything helps. They search out veterans to help them with jobs, housing, anything that they need. NVETS is there for our nation's veterans. So anything you could possibly donate to them, check out their website, and that'd be much appreciated. And I couldn't do any of this without my beautiful daughters and my wonderful wife allowing me to have the time to come out and have fun with you guys.
Absolutely, buddy. And just one last quick question: have you been practicing that?
No, no.
Man, you flew through it like you had it ready to go. You were, I don't believe you. I think you've been practicing it, waiting for this moment here.
No, just fast reader. That's all.
Not a bad trait to have. Well, again, congratulations, Jacob. Well
Thank
done
you.
on finishing this season on a high note.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. He was really good at that, I must say. As Jacob Allingson did end up third. We'll take a look at our finishing results. Patrick Drabick, second winner of the season here, and he'll race for a championship next week. Jeremy Gardner was second. Jacob Allingson was third. Levi McCarty was consistent and continues that top 5 streak in fourth. Jamie Mullins is fifth. Chance Taylor was sixth. Craig Bontrager, after an up and down roller coaster race, will be the final driver racing for a championship in seventh. Brandon Wallace will be in eighth. Jake Ham was ninth, and James Goshen was 10th.
Back here in the 11th spot, Matt Knights takes the 64 home. Followed up by Howie DiSavino. Not the race he was looking for. Needed a win to lock it down. Just did not have the cards to play the right hand. 12th spot for him. Followed up by Mike Browning in the 4 machine. Logan Sturgeon in the 26 will take home the 14th spot. Followed up by the 75 of Chuck Pegleg Feltz in 15th. Tyler Justice in the 33, another driver that needed a win, just could not get up to the front, takes home 16th, followed up by George Jewell in the 36. Jamie Barkus in the 15 will take home 18th. And last but not least, Tyler Merritt in the 16th will round out this 19-car field.
Absolutely, and what a race we saw tonight. Before we close out, how about we give a shout out and our announcement of our December Veteran Spotlight. Josh Luckenvitz served 22 years, 15 of those on active order in the Iowa Army National Guard. He did multiple deployments overseas, notably Iraq in 2005 and Afghanistan from 2018 to 2019. He's held the MOSs of 12B, Combat Engineer, a 29E Electronics Warfare NCO, an 89B Ammunition Specialist, and a 35F Intelligence Analyst. And he retired as a Sergeant First Class at SFC E7. Thank you for your service to our great nation, and glad to have you a part of the Goat Locker Racing family. Hashtag one lap at a time. Josh, thank you for your service and all that you've done for our great nation, and we'll bring it back one last time into the broadcast booth. Logan, what a race. What a great season we've had. There's still one more race to go, and that's next week, championship night, Friday night, Darlington. What a race that's going to be. I cannot wait for next Friday.
Man, I am so excited. We have 4 super consistent drivers going into this championship race. It's going to be a blast. Green flag to checkered. And again, just everything that this league is about, I love being a part of it. So I'm really looking forward to being here with you one more time.
Yes, it's been a great honor and a pleasure. Thank you guys for all tuning in. And what a race we saw tonight. Congratulations to Patrick Drabick here tonight. And for Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkus, and everyone at the Goat Locker Racing family and all the sponsors that do this and make this possible. For Adam Baker and Bradley Cooper at V-Speed, and our producer tonight, Eddie Smith, thank you. And my colleague in the booth, Logan, thank you, Logan. And for myself, Alec Martinez, thank you guys for all watching tonight's broadcast. Get ready, buckle up. Next week, championship night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, live here on V-Speed. Tune in, you won't want to miss it. Next week, Darlington, the championship. We'll see you there.